Hey, what's up everyone, Raging Golden Eagle here, having way too much fun as always. So, after decades of programs and movements aimed at getting more women into college, in addition to demonizing men with things like toxic masculinity, forcing them to take classes about how privileged they are, college star chambers that pretty much assume you're guilty of any rape accusation until you can prove yourself innocent, and even sometimes then you're still guilty, now we're starting to see the results. Now women have got what they wanted, and as expected, they're not happy with it. Leftover generation of career women are freezing their eggs because they can't find similarly successful men. I, for one, don't understand how this is a problem, because since the dawn of time, men are expected to just marry women and take care of them. The vast majority of the time, the woman is a whole lot less successful than the man. Yeah, you can say it's because of how society was back then, but, well, the point still is true, though. Men are expected to marry women who are quote-unquote beneath them because it's somehow their duty. But now that successful women appear to be outnumbering successful men, they don't seem as willing to do the same. Most women who freeze their eggs are doing so not because of their career, but because they cannot find a similarly successful man. Now, the explanation for this is actually quite simple. All you men listening to this right now, here's a simple question for you. Say you're a millionaire, you're a very successful man. You're out looking for some pussy. Are you going to go with the, say, 35-year-old successful career woman who's not really going to offer you much of anything that you don't already have yourself? Or are you going to go for the 21-year-old supermodel? Which one would you pick? I don't know how many more times I have to keep saying this before it finally sinks in. But ladies, you may not like it, but unlike how you pick your men, men don't pick women based on their careers and success. That's not what they want. We can get that ourselves quite easily. But these women, I guess, projected their own desires onto men. They want rich and successful men, so they assume men would be looking for rich and successful women, only to end up alone and realizing that that's definitely not the case. The study's author, Marcia Inhorn, professor of anthropology at Yale University, said of women who freeze their eggs, there are not enough graduates for them. In simple terms, this is about an oversupply of educated women. You know, one thing you never heard about in the past and probably never will hear about in the future is an oversupply of educated men, because that's never a problem. In China, they call them leftover women. It sounds cold and callous, but in demographic terms, this is about missing men and leftover women. Or maybe someone just needs to reevaluate their high standards. Isn't this exactly what the feminists have been saying to us guys for years? Oh, you don't like land whales? Well, there's something wrong with you, because all women are beautiful. Hell, we should just start saying the same shit to them when we read crap like this. Oh, so you're only looking for rich and successful men? Well, I hate to break it to you, but all men are good. You just need to reevaluate your standards. Women tell us frequently that they are freezing their eggs because the men they meet feel threatened by their success and are so unwilling to commit to starting a family together. This is one of those things I keep seeing thrown around, and I have been for the past few years. But can anyone give me one example of a man who's actually threatened by a woman's success? I've never met any of these men in real life. The simple truth is exactly what I said earlier. Men aren't looking for successful women. When men are out looking for a woman, her success doesn't really factor into the equation. I mean, sure, if she meets all the other standards and is successful on top of that, then hell, you found yourself a perfect catch. But that success almost always comes at the expense of things that men actually find more appealing. It's not rocket surgery here. All you have to do is accept reality as it is, and you're gonna understand these things. Then we get to the college numbers, at least in the UK. Last year, 30,015 more women aged 18 were accepted for university in the UK than men of the same age. In that year, 56% of acceptances were for females. Alright, so now we have evidence that women are definitely not the minority when it comes to college. So that means we can finally put an end to all these programs to get more women into higher education, right? And instead reroute all those resources to get more men into higher education, because that's who they desperately wants to get in now, right? I'm not gonna take any of this bitching seriously until they actually make the moves to do just that. Because until they're willing to do that, they're just talking out their ass. And while you're at it, maybe if you made college less of a hostile environment towards men, more men would actually want to go there. But again, I don't see any moves towards that. In fact, they're still plowing full speed ahead in the exact opposite direction. So, as Tommy Sotomayor says, you play a stupid game, you win a stupid prize. That's exactly what they're doing right here. But thankfully, at least Professor Inhorn here, she's saying at least some of what I just said. Maybe women need to be prepared to be more open to the idea of a relationship with someone not as educated. Oh, what a shock. They expect women to be held to the same standards as men have been all these years? Man, this is the first sign of actual progress I've seen in a while. But she actually goes on with the intelligent comments. But also, maybe we need to be doing something about our boys and young men to get them off to a better start. Gee, you think? Who would have thought that all this constant demonization would make them want to just completely skip the whole thing altogether? Combine that with the fact that, as I covered in an earlier video, men can often get better results from trade schools and the like. You guys have a lot of fixing to do if you want to get more men into college. But until then, enjoy your frozen eggs and your cats. You got exactly what you wanted, so I don't want to hear any complaints. And that's all I got to say, guys. Thanks for listening.